bunch of rotation tests. We have seated trunk rotation, you have the standing rotation, you have the half kneeling rotation, alright? And now you have the pelvic dissociation. You have 4 protocols to evaluate rotation, all giving you different information. It seems like a lot of tests for rotation, not necessarily, because you're looking at different functions, okay, depending on what you're trying to acquire. So what could you do that actually encompasses a lot of those rotation mechanisms? Well, the half roll, not a full rolling pattern, but a half roll provides you an opportunity to actually address all of those 4 needs. Okay? So what you'll do, bring the hands out, you look like a star for me. There we go. So as always, when we start a protocol, start an exercise, what do? Turn everything on, get everything involved, right? So he's going to be using his arms for this protocol. Okay. Down a little bit. Okay, we're going to use the right side. Push down, push, push. Push it down. Okay, push, 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 push. There we go, push. Head still, head still. There we go. Okay. Okay. So the half roll, what I want you to do is bring your right hand up to the ceiling. Okay. Keep this hand pushed down. Turn your head to the right, to the left. Okay. Keep turning it. Okay. What I want you to do now is to reach across and roll right through. Keep the heels on the ground. The pelvis can come up. Keep rotating through, rotate through, rotate through, rotate through, rotate through. So this is now rotation of the spine, but also too, the more important one, you're actually rotating through this hip. Okay? The hip that you rotate into, the side you rotate into, you're actually moving the pelvis on that hip joint, which is move that pelvis on that hip joint. Okay? So you've got the spine and the pelvis moving on the hip joint, because he's rotating to his left, so he's rotating into his left hip joint. Okay? Coming back, TL rotation. Push the hand down into the ground, push it down. What you get people to do is rotate the pelvis back towards the floor. So rotate it back, rotate back, rotate back. Okay? And then now rotate the spine and back to the floor. Okay? So try that again. So there's 2 different sequences that you'd go through. So bring your hand back up. Keep the heels down. That foot, okay, rotate. Rotate, 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 rotate. Keep going through, keep going through. So he's rotated his trunk. Now he's rotating that pelvis on the hip. So his pelvis should be perpendicular to the ground. Should be stacked vertical. Okay? To come back, keep that hand pushed down. Pull that pelvis, pull, 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 pull. Do you feel that sensation of pulling right there? Okay? And then you come back. Alright? So why only a half roll? For some of those that have done full rolling patterns, all movement doesn't complete a rotation. Because you will rotate into a direction and then you got to come back out of it. The assumption is you actually reset when you go back to the start position. This actually forces you to stretch into position and then reset it and go back. Alright, that's the purpose of this. Okay, so now rotate the other way. Alright, so try to push up on that hand. And try to push up on his hand. When he rotates, try to push up. Ready? Rotate. Turn your head. Turn your head first. Turn, turn, turn. Okay, now push up on that hand. Push, push, push. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going. Make you work for this. Good. So now what do you instruct him to do? Push that hand down. Body knows where it is. Push those heels down to the ground. Push that pelvis back, push, 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 push. Now start to come back. Alright? So when people rotate, they don't know how to actually orient and keep everything engaged. that hand starts to let go. The feet start to let go. People's feet start to come up. The whole point is, when you rotate in sports, like as Brian was alluding to with some of the sports, when you land, your feet can't leave the ground. You've got to be able to do something. The other hand that you're not using actually dictates how well you rotate your trunk. Yes, you're using this hand, even if you go to punch somebody. This hand is also the one that actually speeds up that trunk. You don't speed up the trunk using this hand. Alright, you don't speed up the trunk using one hand coming through. It's actually both coming through. Alright? And the analogy for this, so use that water bottle. Water bottle. Okay, get you sitting up for a second. Here's the analogy for trunk rotation. Get you sitting up for a second. And why engaging everything is important. Here's the key to this. I want you to take the lid off. Keep that down. Just twist the lid off. Okay. So what does he do? Takes 2 fingers and rotates. 2 fingers and rotates. So when you do that rolling pattern, both hands are engaged so you can rotate. Alright? When you go to throw a ball, both hands are coming through. You go to punch, right? One hand's coming in as you punch through. They're both engaged. If you only use one side, take this off with 1 finger. You can't. That's the problem with rotation athletes. Alright? They forget to use the other limb when it comes to rotation. Alright? You can't take a lid off with 1 finger. You take 2 and you twist. They do equal work, but they go in opposite directions. So this rolling pattern, this half roll, teaches you actually how to use both limbs simultaneously in opposite directions so you can actually rotate. Alright? Same thing with the lower half. If they both engage, you can actually move. Alright? That's where people run into problems when it comes to rotation. But guess what? Everyone rotates every day. So if you train the person with rehab to create a connection with all working parts, the movement is more efficient regardless of sport. They just move better, and they move better without compromise. Alright? And all you gotta do with people is just do the lid drill with them. You can't spin a lid off with 1 hand or 1 finger. It has to be 2 working in opposite directions to each other. Alright? That's how you create speed. You only create speed if you have range of motion. Alright? So this drill here, practice it. So the other way of doing it, get you on your back again. Just as a review. Push your hands down. Right? Push down hard. It's the same thing as we did in the lower extremity. Use the foot this time. So you move the upper half, but you also got to use the lower half. Alright, so you can come right across. And you just challenge it. Make sure he's using it. Right? Keep going, keep going. Right? There we go. So when he comes back, you keep the foot down. Push this down, push this down. Push, 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 push. There we go. Good. And you can challenge the arms to make sure they're involved. Alright? Again, remember, be mindful and aware of all working parts when you actually do an exercise. This drill teaches you how to do that when you rotate. And it's the same thing if you go on your stomach. Turn your stomach. So you do everything going forward, but sometimes you gotta go backwards. Give somebody a backhand so they get lippy with you. Alright, so you push down. Okay. Toes up, toes up. Push down. Okay. Lift this hand. Okay, turn your head to the right. Now rotate up. So he's rotating through upper, getting into the lower. Good. Just challenge him out. There we go. Challenge out. Nice. Right? When he comes back, you push down, and you come forward again. But hips first, pelvis first. Turn, 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 turn. Yeah, there we go. And and back down. Okay? The one thing you gotta watch for when they're on their stomachs that we'll practice is that people, when they lift their arms up, they lean into the side they're rotating into, and they come through. What you gotta make sure is that they actually turn your head, physically rotate through. Alright? Because people will sit there, they'll lean into it, and then come up. They're not really rotating. It's like when you rotate and you're actually seeing this. Alright? So be mindful of that. And then with the legs, so you push down, keep the core tight, lift that right leg. Okay? Reach across. So now he's starting to rotate through that TL and lower half. Keep going through. You make sure that he's holding everything still. Good. He comes back. Right through, pushing through both hands with intent and back. Perfect. So this drill here, those two drills, I want you to practice. Alright? Practice how to engage everything more so than the actual rotation. Alright? Because engaging everything is pretty hard to do, right? Let alone trying to rotate with all that engagement. Alright? It's a challenging drill. It is not easy to be done properly. Okay? Okay, let's practice that. So those who had rotation problems, here's the point before you start. Those who had rotation problems